Hi, I'm here today to do the first in a short series of 6 videos about being an ethical consumer, and I'm going to tie that into the ethical side of our business and how we try to be an ethical business. This was because I made a very popular comment recommending Ethical Consumer magazine, and Tristan asked me if I could give him some more information. Hi Tristan. So here I am telling you well, how I've come to be an ethical consumer over about 45 years of trying. And today I'm going to tell you really what I think is the most important thing, and it's probably not what you're expecting. I'll just tell you that I'm Emily Tellwright from Castle Sefton Press. That's why I've got the publisher badge on. We sell books and art, and we try to be an ethical business. I mean, the business is just essentially me, with my partner writing some of the books and art, producing the artwork, and I work from home. So we keep the costs very low, but my personal life as an ethical consumer is therefore tied in with the business as well. And the first thing I'm going to tell you today is probably not at all what you're expecting, but it's very, very important. If you're starting off on the journey of trying to be more ethical, kinder to the world and yourself in the decisions you make when you're purchasing things, then do please be kind to yourself and don't feel guilty. As soon as you start looking into these things, you'll just find out the horrendous things that go on all the time, that have been going on all the time for a very long time at an enormous, incredible scale. And it's quite easy to fall down into a deep pit of despair when you start learning about this. And it's happened to a lot of people. I mean, some people I know who've really developed quite serious mental health problems because they cared so much and they became so passionate about doing good things in their everyday life and the choices they made, and it's so impossible to get everything right because everything's stacked against you. People are doing heinous things to other people, to the planet, all the time. And I know that sounds awful, but you need to be aware of that at the beginning. You're not going to be able to change the world. I'm not saying you can't make a difference. You can't fix everything. You can't get everything right all the time. Sometimes there are no good decisions, no good choices to make. So please, please don't beat yourself up. Don't feel guilty. Being an ethical consumer is about caring for yourself, caring for other people, caring for the planet, about being kind, about wanting to live a different kind of life, in sync with everybody else, for yourself, because you want to do a good thing, you want to live that kind of life, you want to understand what's going on. So if you approach it from that point of view, where you're just doing your best because it's the kind of life that you want to live, the kind of contribution you want to make, the kind of relationship that you want to have with the planet, with other people, with nature and all the resources that this world has for us, if you come from that angle, then you'll be okay. But as soon as you start thinking, oh, everything's going wrong, what I'm doing isn't making any difference, things aren't getting better, terrible things are happening again, really, it can really drive you mad. So I really wanted to start off with an important warning about that. The sad thing is that all the really big, powerful corporations and people, the rich people who've got all the power, are the ones who are doing really unethical things. Almost always, there may be exceptions, and they have so much power now, and they're so focused on just making money at all costs, even though that is just so incredibly stupid when we live on a finite planet that resources are running out. There's kind of ecological disaster everywhere. People are dying and suffering, and somehow making even more money when you're one of the richest things in the world is somehow more important. I mean, that is just, to borrow from Americans, dumb. But nevertheless, these people have the power, and as soon as you start looking into being an ethical consumer, you will find that they're everywhere, that they're always pushing their agenda, that they're always making ethical choices more difficult, more expensive, and that they're always telling you lies. And this is what makes it hard. But there are loads of things you can do. There are also, as soon as you start looking out into it, before I sound too gloomy, there are loads and loads of people doing great things. And that's the nice thing about starting to investigate ethical consumption, being an ethical purchaser, and it's because that you find out that there are all these people doing great things that you didn't know about, really inventive things, quite courageous things, creative things. There's loads of great stuff going on. It's not going to stop the big players because they just have all this huge power and money, and sometimes they like to get nasty and fight back. But it's great to connect with all these good things that are going on. So don't be depressed. Just remember, this is about how you want to live your life. And if you can't defeat the big giants, if you feel that you're really not making a big difference on a global scale, never mind. Having you in the world, doing what you're doing, is still a great thing that's making the world a better place, making your life better. It's good. I just wanted to finish with examples of decisions that we make as a business that are kind of compromises, and we all have to make them. There aren't always, as I say, there aren't always good choices. One of them is with tech, of course. Privately, as a private individual, I don't have anything to do with Google, and I probably wouldn't bother with most of Facebook or Amazon or most of these corporations. But as a business, we have to interact with them to a certain extent, although we try and keep it to the minimum. But we live in the world we live in, and we have to make a living. So yes, you do have to make a compromise sometimes. Again, with the manufacturers we use for our products, we're mostly very happy with them. We certainly went to a lot of trouble picking them, that they fitted with our beliefs, and that they're really trying hard to be as ecological as possible. If you don't know, most of our products, certainly paperback books and a lot of the art products, prints and homeware and things with our designs on, are print on demand. We think that's a good ecological choice. It's not perfect because, for example, if you buy, this is a bit of product placement here, if you buy a mug like this from us, this is one of our publications on this mug. It's a tie-in mug. Yeah, the mug will have been printed in the UK or the US, depending on where you are as a customer, and some other countries as well, which is great. But I think it's quite likely that I did try and find out, and the information is that the mugs are made in China and they're shipped from China. Now, like me, if you live in one of the world's traditional pottery manufacturing cities that can't compete with those cheap mugs from China, that's not really what we want. We'd love for the mugs to be made here in England, for the English manufacturers, and in the other countries for theirs. But sadly, it would make them absolutely extortionately expensive. And that's the world we live in, and it's not perfect. We just do our best, and that's what you've got to do as a consumer. Going out there, you're going to find out all these great things that are going on. You're going to get really fired up about wanting to do better things, and you're going to find out about all the terrible stuff as well. And sometimes you're going to get really stressed because you want to make the right decision and there isn't a perfect way forward for you. So just do the best you can. You're doing a great job by even trying. So just do the best you can and enjoy it. And I'll be back tomorrow with part 2.